What is up, everybody? Welcome to another Pathfinder Friday. It is Friday. It's 4 o'clock Pacific. Let's find some paths. We're talking today with Stephen Radney-MacFarland. We're going to be going over the flip tiles, which are the maps that were just launching a couple months ago, I think they started. And yeah, and we're getting ready to launch some more. There's more coming. So we're going to go over those, let you take a look at them if you haven't had a chance to. And then we're going to do some Q&A for Pathfinder Playtest. I want to let you know that ideally we're not planning on having any spoilers for the playtest talk. If something comes up, we're sorry, but if we do start to talk about something that could be potentially spoilery, we'll try to give you a little heads up. But mostly, for the most part, all of the talk about Doomsday Dawn will be happening next week with Logan when we finish up Chapter 2. And then he'll be on and we'll kind of deconstruct Doomsday Dawn. So we're looking forward to that already. Today, however, we've got the one and only Stephen Radney-MacFarland.
Woo!
I know. Wait for applause.
Oh.
Boom! There we go.
There we go. I don't wait for that. I just do it.
How the heck are you?
Good. It's Friday.
It is Friday.
It's been a busy week, and then I'm going to go to PAX this weekend.
That's right. That's right. In fact, we were kind of wondering how many people would be watching because of PAX.
Right. And Dragon Con and various other shows all over the place, too.
I know. There's all kinds of things going on right now.
It's a busy weekend.
And, in fact, it might be a good time possibly to say, hi, Beth, how are you? Thanks for tuning in.
Hey, Beth.
I think that... how's things around Paizo?
Good.
I'm kidding. It's on fire.
Yeah. Well.
But here we are. Hi everybody in chat. Thank you for joining us today. I want to give a special shout out to Brendan to Nitrace for upping his sub to level 2. He now has the power of Skittermander that he can put in the chat through our emote. We have another emote that just got released. It's the Paizo Golem going crazy. So when something nuts happens in the games on Thursday, then people can be like, oh, that's crazy, and then there they go. You know, so
I feel like my Twitch foo is terrible. I have no idea what you just told me.
It's good. Just nod.
No, those things are great. Up your what?
Your sub level.
The sub level. Up your sub level.
There's tier 2. Where you can get the Skitterman.
Just skip to tier 10. I don't know what it does, but just go to tier 10.
Yeah.
15. Find the highest one you can.
Your Twitch foo.
My Twitch foo is awful.
That's all right. Yeah. We'll go to the dojo and we'll work on it.
All right, sounds good.
So anyway, again, thanks for everybody that's joining us. I'm still riffing just a little bit to make sure people have a chance to join in and everything. So, hi chat, how are you? Hope you're ready for a good weekend. If you're going to PAX, hope you have a good time. If you're going to Dragon Con, find Jason Bowman and
don't buy him a beer.
John Compton, give them high fives. Don't do that.
Jason's had enough beer. He's gonna kill me for saying that.
Let's see. So anyway, what we plan to do today, this is the idea. We are thinking that we're going to start with the flip tiles, go through those. I've got some visuals that we'll go through to kind of show them off. We'll open up the packaging that we have and go through the one that comes out next month, I think. And then from there, we'll kind of just talk about the full line, everything that's already out now. And then after that, we're going to take Q&A. We plan on having about a half hour of Q&A. So ready your cues, and we'll prepare our...
that sounds weird.
That did not. As soon as I started to say it, I knew that it probably was not going to be.
We got to find a better way to say that.
But we will answer as much as we can. I'm going to put, obviously, we know the website's broken. There's no way around that. We're not on the tech team. We have no idea
the
how to fix it. So if you want to ask about the website, you can. But I promise you, I don't have answers. Stephen might, but...
well, here's my take on that is I don't want the tech team to talk about game design and maps, and so I don't talk about their job because I would just mess it up in the same way that they would mess it up the other way around.
Right. So
it's a division of labor sort of thing here at Paizo.
We know it's broken. I'm not 100% sure it's a very technical thing as far as I know. What's wrong with it? We are getting some updates, but whenever
they seem
I get
optimistic
an
that
it's whenever I get an update, I try to put it out to social media. So whenever you see an update coming on onto Twitter, that means that I got something from the tech team. Unfortunately, it seems like, and this is just me guessing, it seems like it's very, it's hard for them to predict how long it's going to take, and so I don't know. So anyway, for the Q&A, we're not going to have much answers for the website, unfortunately. But
we can tell you that they're working around the clock, right?
Yeah, yeah,
I mean,
and that's true.
There's a cot downstairs now, which was, literally working around the clock.
So, and honestly, truthfully, and this is not to seem flippant about the issues at all, we are incredibly sorry that everyone's having these issues. There are people that aren't getting their subs, and what's happening is and I think I can say this, we've said it, is that, you know, when the website's down, that also means that most of our internal workings are also down.
Yeah.
And so that means that, you know, we can't ship. We can't, like, there's a lot of stuff we're not able to do. So it's pretty rampant through the, you know, and it's not something that we take lightly. We're trying to get it fixed, but it just is what it is. And I commend the whole tech team for doing what they're trying to do. And for as upset as I get whenever they're like, website's up, and I post this happy post, and I'm like, yeah, and I put something cool up there for everybody out there to read. And then as soon as I'm done, it's a wave of responses being like, oh, thanks, that's not working anymore. And I'm like, wow, awesome. This is really cool. And it's not, but I don't... it is just what it is. And so we're really, really sorry. We do apologize, and we're trying to get it up. So all of your tech questions about why the website is down, Stephen is going to answer every one of those for you today. Is the point
I just create make-believe. I don't know anything about that.
So be patient with us, and I understand it's not fun. So anyway, that's all. I don't have anything else. I wish that we could get things moving for you.
I think you've said it all, Dan.
Wow, thank you. I guess good night, everybody.
Yeah, all right. Yeah.
So let's get into these things. I grabbed the wrong one. I meant to grab the first one that came out, which is the dungeon starter set.
It's a dungeon starter set, yeah.
And I grabbed the wrong one by accident.
But we can illustrate this.
So let's start with what the Pathfinder flip tiles are, and how they work, and how somebody might want to use those in their game.
Oh yeah. So I mean, in a lot of ways, the flip tiles came out from our old map packs, which were created. They were one-sided maps of a modular sort of ilk that had it was 5 by 8. It had a weird size that had a lot of legacy reasons why they were that weird size. And so for a number of months, I petitioned. I'm like, can we have a better size and just more flexibility in what we can do with the flip tiles? And then put together a plan, and everybody reviewed it and liked it. And so what these things are is they're double-sided. That's the flip part of it, which is kind of nice because you get more maps for your pack. And then they are 6 by 6, which make it a lot easier for you to sort of plan out and put down your adventure. You don't have to worry about making sure that this side's the long side and this side's the short side. On my end, they're a lot easier to design being a square than they were being a rectangle. And then we have some other features on here as well, like we have alphanumeric codes on each one. So if you're in a hurry and you want to grab your stuff and you're kind of wondering which encounter gets what kind of map, you can write it down very quickly. Okay. And then once you get to to actually putting them out, you have stacks.
Oh, no. Okay. So then the idea is that you could actually just put the serial number for everything, and then all you got to do is come through, and the number's over in the corner.
Yeah, the number's over in the corner. Okay. Very small in the corner, so it doesn't mess up things. And with the starter set, so let me talk a little bit about starter sets versus expansion packs.
All right, I'll put that away. Yeah, I'm rushing ahead. I'm sorry.
Oh no, that's okay. So the starter sets are there to be always there. They're sort of evergreen. So one of the problems that we had is the very popular flip tiles or map packs, I should say, like the dungeon stuff and things that were very useful for everybody. Those were the ones that sold out the quickest.
Okay.
And because of the way we were basically just producing expansions each 2 months, if you didn't get on the first dungeon pack, right? The dungeons were just gone. So what we decided to do is we started with the dungeon starter set. When we run out of that print, we're going to reprint it. That one's always going to stay in circulation.
Okay.
And then we do expansions for that set. The first one was Dungeon Perils, and it works with that. And that's where we put out the new tiles and interesting kind of stuff. And then those probably won't get a reprint, although we could probably do like a best of sort of thing.
Oh, yeah.
We've talked a little bit about that down the line as the line matures. And so, you do Dungeon Perils. I just got done, or I'm in the middle of designing one called Dungeon Vaults. That's kind of odd-shaped rooms and larger
nice.
sort of bits. And crazy stuff if you want to do
like weird corners and
nice. Diagonal passages and stuff like that.
Right.
And then the second one we came out with, which is coming out this month, I think it's being sent to people as we speak, is the Forest starter set. And just like the Dungeon one, this is going to stay imprint for the life of the line.
Evergreen.
Evergreen
is what we call that. Okay.
And
which is it's forest. So,
right. Yeah, you're going to use a lot of forest. And then, of course, our first expansion to that, which isn't out yet, but we have a little bit of a preview of.
Which apparently I also should not have grabbed, but it looked awesome, and so we're going to preview that. What is that, Steven?
This is Forest Perils expansion. This is going to be for all of our first set. The first one is Perils, and this has things like ruins that you can put in the middle. It's got some more rivers, forest fires, brambles, standing stones, cliffs, and things that expand out from the basic forest thing.
The brambles.
Yep.
I'm realizing how far away I am from that camera right there.
Oh, right.
Oh, you know what? Hang on a second. I got an idea. Boom. Blammo.
Yep.
Right? Let's see. Where did that... There's, a gentle stream.
Right.
Looks very nice.
Roadways and stuff.
Yeah. And how many are in here? How many do you get?
That's 24 double-sided.
This is 24 double-sided.
Yep.
How many are in the
That is
full
36 double-sided.
Oh, okay.
Now, you'll notice, let's take a look at this really quick, it's like that's 24 and that's 36, and it's all like, wow, that's a really big box.
Yeah.
But we designed the box in a way that you can carry around an awful lot of tiles just in the starter set.
Okay.
And in fact, one of the things that comes with each starter set are these little tabs, so you can separate individual tiles out. And then an entire box of expansions can fit in the box.
Look at that.
And so if you're traveling around, you're going to a show or you're going to a friend's house to run a game, this is a very sturdy box.
That is pretty sturdy.
And it'll keep your tiles safe for when you're traveling around.
Basically, these feel very much like the flip mats.
Yes, it's a similar material, and it's a similar varnish that goes on it.
Wet, dry, and permanent.
Dry, and permanent. Yeah, you draw whatever you want on there.
And they're kind of cardstocky, but they do have like a laminate type cover on them of sorts.
Exactly.
Okay.
It's a varnish, from what I understand.
A varnish. Okay. All right.
Yeah.
So the idea is that they're going to last. These feel actually like they're going to last pretty well.
I mean, don't take a bath with them or anything else like that, but
Why would I want it then? Never mind. Done.
Yeah.
So for illustration purposes, I kind of put together a little slideshow, and I believe this is from the Dungeon Starter set.
This is from the Dungeon Starter set.
What I want to do is I just kind of want to show you. Just really quickly, I took some scans.
You made a dungeon.
I made a little dungeon. Yeah.
Nice.
So we're going to start off with just a blank. That's just our blank background.
All right.
I haven't.
That is our play area.
That's our exactly. That's our play area. And so then I took.
I like the branding on the play area. That's really cool.
I didn't even know that was there. That's weird. Pathfinder Playtest, kind of available right now.
Right.
Then we are going to go. There's a series of starters.
Yeah.
And so I found one that had it was like grass, like you coming through,
because that's how you connect it to all of this.
Right. And there was a couple, so it wasn't like that wasn't the only one. There was a couple that you could use as like, this is the entrance into the dungeon. And so then I thought, all right, well, let me take the next one, and I just pop one down, and it didn't really fit, I don't think.
Well, I mean, you could do it that way. One of the good things about definitely place it together so each tile could stand alone.
Okay.
But as you move forward with sort of the positive and negative space of a dungeon and the way they fit together, you could do that. It's a little awkward, and you'd have to be careful about how you build around
what happens next.
What happens next.
But I guess that the wall right there could be a part of the wall of it opening up.
You could definitely do that.
Okay, I did not see it that way. I just didn't think it worked. So I flipped it over.
Right.
And I went with what was on the back, which is kind of this cool hallway with some mysterious corners and all of that sort of thing. So I was like, that's cool. You can hide a skeleton.
Or skeletons.
Kobold skeletons, or maybe even have a
flumps.
Well, if Daigle were playing, you'd have a flump in there.
It's like, whoa, dude.
Or a mysterious well. Maybe there's a waterfall, and do you drink the water? And of course you drink the water.
Maybe those are just urinals.
Yeah, maybe. Just right there on Front Street. Like welcome to the dungeon.
It's like, why don't I just go out in the woods? Shh.
Before you go downstairs, do you need, it's going to be a long dungeon. So after that, I decided, well, you need to go downstairs. You have to have stairs. So, and I thought it was very nice that this is kind of a dungeon-y thing that just opens in a field and they gave you stairs. I thought that was very nice of them to do. So then as you're moving along, you're going to turn. Now we're headed, for illustration's sake, I would say that's west. The stairs go and turn west. Or
east,
and then
on how you're looking at
it opens up into some choices. Like, oh my gosh, where are we going to go? And I'm like, well, let's go south, right? Yeah. So you go south, and it's like, oh, no, that's a dead end. Oh. So let's go back to
the number hole. No, wait, not oh man. Yeah. An owlbear?
An owlbear.
No, that would be outside in the woods.
Would be,
I'm screwing this up.
That would be weird.
Right. A small baby dragon.
And then, of course, because you need, every adventure needs to have some kind of big finish.
Oh, yeah.
And these are just, map tiles and everything.
Yeah.
So I decided to create my own map tile and add a dragon.
Whoa!
And that right there,
well,
I got to say, first of all, that is not Paizo approved. That is...
The art is interesting.
Thank you. That is the best my mouse could do in MS Paint, and I feel very, very happy with that. So,
and it's also not the standard size.
Hit me up if you guys...
if I need some help designing these things.
Look, I'm just saying, you're more than welcome to. But I think that
Jason Engel just lost a job.
Believe me, nobody lost a job. In fact, people from MS Paint might be losing jobs. Right.
They're like,
but I just, it was just one of those things that, if you're doing your homebrew and you need somebody to give you some art, hit me up. I mean,
yeah,
that dragon is scary. I promise you that's not a Wayne Reynolds. But I just wanted to show off a little bit of how those work and actually kind of how easy it is, because I did that digitally, which I think that it's easier for me to actually thumb through and put them down. But even doing it digitally, it worked really fast, and it was pretty easy to put down. So.
Yeah, I've been playing with these at home and making all sorts of things. And in a few weeks, I don't know how many weeks, when I run, this is a little bit of a spoiler for Doomsday Dawn. When I run my chapter of Doomsday Dawn, which is called Red Flags, I'm going to use tiles, the flip tiles for a section of it. Yeah.
Oh, nice. So let's see. What Thursday are you going to be?
I think got
two.
I've got two.
Okay.
And it's chapter 7, so that's a long ways
last
away.
One. Yeah.
Or no, it's chapter 6. It's the second.
Oh,
last
okay.
one.
Okay, second to last. So that would be like beginning to middle of November, maybe, or somewhere in there.
Somewhere.
I think we're trying to finish up right before Thanksgiving. I think. That's the.
I was hoping to do it on Thanksgiving. That's
just so they can give thanks for Stephen Radney-MacFarland.
That's right. I'm going to run my game on Thanksgiving. Eat some turkey.
So yeah, I think that. So and I think that actually be the best thing is to see them in action and see how they play, because I think putting them out on a table is one thing, but. Seeing them in action and seeing how well they work and all of that sort of thing is going to be great. I love that. And
another little bit of a preview is the next starter set after this is going to be the urban starter set.
Oh, so cities and towns?
And so it's got the fun part about that is the way we did it is one side is the rooftops, and the other side is the interior. So you can just flip it to show what's inside the buildings.
Hey,
yeah,
that's not bad at all.
Yeah,
so
that's going to be a lot of fun.
You've got like the cottage or whatever, the townhouse or whatever.
Right.
Then you flip it over, and now you're indoors.
Yep.
Oh, that is amazing.
So that it was. It took me a while to figure out how exactly to pull that off, but once I got it done, it works really well.
Okay, and then is it going to? I mean, in my head, I'm assuming it'll have like a little tavern or something.
Yeah, it's got a lot of. It's mostly a lot of city streets that you can sort of piece together to create a big sort of cityscape. But it's got other larger buildings as well. And we tend, at least with that one, we tend not to detail it a whole lot. So you can fill in the details, and it could be whatever buildings you need to be. But I can imagine an expansion pack down the line, which would be the urban tavern expansion pack, which is just a whole bunch of you can make large taverns that fit in with all of those things as well.
Yeah, and then you can grab other rooftops and just put them over and then take them off as they come up or whatever.
Basically.
That is really cool. I like that idea.
Yeah.
I think that if anyone's played with like Dwarven Forge or any of those really intricate types of things, it's like that, except my fat hands won't be knocking everything over when I try to move my nimble rogue through things, and he's just like a bull in a china shop.
It's a bit cheaper than Dwarven Forge and similar sort of three-dimensional stuff, and it's a lot easier to store.
And then
as somebody who has a bunch of stuff like that,
a lot easier to store. That's fair. And is there like decorations, or is there anything like that you can put on that?
Well, I mean, we have the pawns collection. So like there's the dungeon dressing pawn collection. That I've used a lot with my various tiles and flip mats and everything else. That's really good. I'm trying to talk them into doing an urban one that just basically has a whole bunch of urban furniture and stuff.
Okay.
Since our tiles in the interior don't have a lot of that, so we can let you sort of figure out what your city is. But if you don't want to sit there with your permanent or dry erase marker, you can just put a bunch of tiles on there and populate the whole thing. We'll see if that happens, but it'd be cool.
And it is wet, dry, permanent. Just to cover that again.
Yep.
It does. It's the exact same as our flip mats.
As our flip mats and the mat packs. Before it. So.
All right then. So get your questions ready for Pathfinder Playtest.
Yes.
I'm gonna put this stuff away.
All right.
I think I've got Jim in the chat working official Paizo. So if I miss questions that we want to talk about, Jim, can you grab those and repost them so I can see those? Let's. Did I miss? Oh, you put it inside.
I put it inside there. Yeah.
Because it stores so nicely.
Right.
So first off, let's start the things that I have while we're waiting for some questions to come through. Let's first of all, I know that you have a blog coming up next week.
Next week, yeah.
And what's the whole point of that? What's the major point of that blog?
The major point of that blog is to talk about feedback and how useful it is. No matter whether it comes through surveys or anecdotal, whether it comes as positive or negative. And using as an example of that, I talk a lot about resonance and people's take so far on resonance and the reasons, the work that Resonance, as it's sitting right now, is attempting to do, and why we feel it's important, and then the fact that taking a lot of the feedback is there's been a lot of sort of negative feedback on Resonance, and what at least outline why that's good and what we're going to do with that feedback. Of course, not talking in concrete terms, because but in a lot of ways explaining this is how the playtest works, and this is why the playtest works, and so and a little bit I know Eric Mona, I was talking to him yesterday, and he was like, sometimes we don't get into the whys, and I tend so while our website has been having issues, I've been spending a lot of time on a Facebook group that's had a lot of great people and asks a lot of great questions, and I go on and I try to answer rules questions when I can, when somebody else doesn't beat me to the punch, which is quite often. There's a lot of really good folks that are they're answering questions and whatnot and giving their opinion. And somebody asked me about the negativity there, which sort of spurred on the conversation. And the negativity has actually been very constructive and not overwhelming. It's been fine. And then asked me why I don't answer a lot of questions of why on message boards and stuff like that. And my big thing is we're here to listen to you, right?
Mm-hmm.
We've put this thing out. We want to see how you're playing with it, and what you're doing with it. But sometimes it's good to sort of roll back and talk about the whys. And in a lot of ways, a very rough draft of this thing is something that I posted in that Facebook group, just answering questions.
Okay.
And then I go into a little bit more detail.
Okay.
About resonance and why it's there and what it is attempting to do.
Okay. And then so we would expect that blog is going to probably
hopefully hit on Monday.
Okay. Yeah. We'll see.
Yeah.
We'll see.
That's the plan.
We'll
I'm confident.
Yes.
Even though it's a holiday, which makes me feel a
Yeah.
little less confident and all sorts of things.
Yeah.
But it's there is no rest for the tech team. I know that.
So and really quick for the chat, I see that we've double posted, but I actually set up a key to put up the link to the surveys and all that kind of stuff for.
Oh yeah.
But I put it up just after Jim posted it too. So
okay.
We've got each other's back on that one apparently.
So yeah, we do have we realize that one of the unfortunate parts about the website issues that we're having is we're trying to run a playtest, and we want you to download the playtest, we want you to answer surveys, and we want you to post on message boards. The message boards we don't have a lot of control over, but we do have that link for if you want to download the playtest and answer the surveys, since those we can host. Well, the surveys are hosted on a site that's outside, and you can get to them, and we can also come up with solutions for the download. So that's a good link. If the website's down, you can use that link, and unless other issues are going on, you should be able to get to both of those.
Right.
Because we want your feedback.
We really do.
Yeah.
Especially after you've played. The surveys are so important.
Yeah.
And we'll be getting into some numbers next week when Logan's on to do deconstructing. So right now, any huge changes coming up that you can talk about, like class feats or anything like that, becoming general feats, anything about like class feats becoming general feats, or spells or spellcasters getting buffed. I think what they're looking for is anything major coming up with update 3 that you can preview.
Well, I mean, we haven't solidified update 3. One of the things is each one of our updates that we do, we solve little problems that we found sort of in the rules. And I think one of the things we're going to try to do is with our blogs each week is sort of go into some nitty-gritty of questions that people have asked for that. As far as very kind of heavy work, like we did the death and dying rules. That's a fairly it talks to a lot of things, but we could do it very quickly, and we could get the information out there.
Right.
If in some ways you're looking for a total reconstruction of where feats lie and everything else, that all of a sudden becomes a very sort of confusing update. And in some ways, while that might be something that we lead to in the final design, a lot of times it's not what's helping us in the playtest, right? We can sit there and go, oh, okay, we know that this is a thing that will likely change in the end product, but it doesn't stop us from getting good information about the playtest. And I talk a lot about that with Resonance. Like Resonance gets us, Resonance as it stands right now is really good because it gives us a lot of information about where we want to go, even if it doesn't come quite in the form that we gave, or if it comes in a different form of what we put into the playtest. So in a lot of ways, I know that there is this desire for people to have us kind of perfect the rules with these updates as we go on, and we do that, but in sort of smaller doses. More systemic things, we're like, okay, we know that there are issues here. We know we need to fix them, but that involves pulling out some wires or juggling some levels or changing categories and everything else. And just telling you that this is where it goes actually, and a lot of times creates more problems than it solves for you on your table as you're going in the playtest, even if it's the direction that we finally want to go. So you are going to see smaller, more compact updates and just general fixes in the rules, rather than like, put this in general feat, totally redesign this class and everything else.
Right. So like maybe don't expect a rewrite of Death and Dying rules, like something on that level every week or every other week or whatever.
No, I would say that. I mean, you like based on the feedback from this one, you might see another iteration of Death and Dying.
Right.
And you might see what's a good one? We might, we'll make tweaks to weapons and equipment and everything else, and like very individual matters. And we might totally like redesign the spell if a spell just isn't working and or doing a thing. But most of the things in the directions that we're heading on big scale issues, you're going to see more of that in the blog, of us talking frankly about what we've noticed, what people are saying, and kind of what direction we want to go in for the final product.
And then, obviously, and so really the big one that people should keep in mind is that, questions, the forums are usually a good place to go for that.
Yes.
On Paizo, on Pathfinder Fridays, this is a good place to go.
Absolutely.
For questions and those types of things. Feedback as far as you should do this and you should do that. Surveys. The surveys are the place to go for the, maybe this is the way to go.
Yes.
And those surveys are open until
we're done,
until like the end of the year, pretty much. Okay.
Yeah. And so and we're coming out with more surveys. We're going to come out with individual class surveys.
Right.
We're going to come out with just some general surveys on things like magic items and different aspects of the game. Just even things like encounter design and stuff like that, where general topics where people can come in and give us the input, and then we can have it in a very measurable way that we can pivot on certain topics and whatnot.
Okay. And now, just because a big part of this whole process, it is actually kind of fun to see things, like, oh, that didn't work, or behind the curtain stuff. So if somebody's asking any rules that have had a really negative feedback so far, like not just, oh, this doesn't feel right, but people that have actually played it and they're like, oh, I don't like this thing, that has really stood out.
Well, I mean, there's been a lot of anecdotal stuff, right?
Okay.
Because we read a lot of message boards, and people who play role-playing games, myself included, are very passionate, and they'll come on and everything else, and sort of trash a thing or praise a thing very broadly. Our second look at Death and Dying came from a lot of those conversations. Some of the talk that we've had about resonance, and that we're going to continue to have about resonance, have come from that. I see a lot of people who comment on they feel that spells got nerfed too much. That's a concern. So
then let me ask you this, because this is something that I'm going off of. I'm not. This isn't from chat actually, but this is something that I'm genuinely curious about, because I ride home, and almost every morning coming to work, I'm riding with Jason Bowman. We carpool.
Because you guys basically live next door to each other,
not
like
anymore.
Some sitcom.
Yeah,
right?
it is. Yeah. It's Bowman and the Dan.
Right.
It's a great show.
They go out and pick up the paper in the morning and go.
Our theme song's amazing. But here's the thing. When I hear things like, oh, people are having a hard time with this, or people don't like this, or this is the feedback we're hearing that they don't like that. If I try to put myself in your shoes, if I try to be empathetic to the design team, and how that whole thing works, it would be difficult for me to be my first thing to just be like, well, they don't get it, and this is why we did it that way. How much, honestly, how hard is it to have that not be your first reaction? Just to be like, well, we made it this way for a reason, and if they're having a hard time with it, we did it because of this.
Right.
Me personally, I'm not saying that that's what you guys are doing, but I know for me personally, I would have a hard time without having that immediate first reaction.
Well, I mean, you never go. The great thing about design is you never go with your first reaction, right? You've always got to try something and test something. And there are a lot of parts, even as we put out the playtest, there were a lot of parts where like, well, this is almost our craziest solution, right? We're gonna get pushback on this, and we're going to be able to respond to that pushback in certain ways, but we want to know from where. Every single aspect, every single change in the playtest is an attempt to resolve a problem. And all of those problems are real. Those problems have been presented to us by fans and through discussion over the years, through actual play, through our development of the rules and whatnot. And 9 times out of 10, if we had a pretty sort of milquetoast way to solve it, or at least confront it, we threw that out and went with the more drastic one. And it's because we could learn more from trying out the more drastic one and seeing what we needed to dial back. Oddly enough, sometimes we learn that we think this is pretty drastic, and folks actually want something even more drastic, and that's a lot of fun too. Right. But yeah, it's a lot of putting it out there, seeing how people react. Sometimes we're very surprised. Sometimes we're not very surprised at all. And then going, okay, well, this is what they're shouting about on the internet. This is what they're loving about on the internet. And now let's take a look at these survey results, which give us a much more scientific sort of outlook on what people are actually doing at the table, rather than what they're yelling about or praising about once they read the rules or have a couple of sessions under their belt.
Yeah, and that's true. Yeah, I get that. Moving on down the chat, we've got any thoughts on there being too many weapon traits or traits in general?
Well, all of the traits, at least right now, are doing work, and so it's kind. As long as they're all doing work, it's kind of hard to say that there are too many. But we've even talked about this. I believe, and we've talked about this, that certain traits can be collapsed, right? That there might be like mental and emotion and fear and everything. Like some of those might be able to be collapsed into something that's a little bit more succinct. That it's still doing the work. But at least right now, and some more than others, all of those traits are doing work, and the weapon traits are doing a good amount of work too. Mostly making some of the weapons a little bit more interesting than they were before. We wanted weapons that were more than just a die of damage, and a weapon type that sometimes you really didn't, or a damage type that you really didn't care about. We wanted we wanted people to be a little bit more excited about the base choice of their weapon. And so. Is that going to be the final list in the rules? Probably not. Is that list going to be smaller or larger? I don't know yet.
Okay. And really quick, this is Olaf's is the name of the place. It's an establishment right down the block from me. I used to work there, actually, and it's a great place. So if you're ever in Seattle,
hang out with Dan at Olaf's.
It's the bar. That's their tagline. Is there any, let's see, big changes that you see that you're contemplating? How set in stone are the classes? I think we kind of somewhat touched on that a little bit.
Yeah.
With, things are still kind of movable.
Yeah, nothing is set in stone. It's a play test. Classes are going to change. Ancestries are going to change. Backgrounds are going to change. Weapons are going to change in the final product. If I had a crystal ball, I'd tell you exactly how it goes. But a lot of it,
have a crystal ball?
I do not have a crystal ball.
Darn it! They never do.
A lot of it has to do with the feedback we get. I mean, it's really easy as people start to digest this game and start playing this game and everything else. It's real easy to look at it, make your decisions, and go, I think I know what the solution is. I don't know what the solution is because we're still in the very early days of playtest. We still need to see what mid-level play looks like through through Doomsday Dawn and other bits of play. What high-level play? Are certain parts acting the way that we thought they would, or are we going to have to go back to the drawing board? And those are complex issues, and that we take seriously. So in a lot of ways, we have thoughts. We have a lot of conversations. We have the drafts of plans that we can enact somewhere down the line, but we're still waiting for key parts of information to come from the playtest.
Okay. And not being reactionary. It's like, nope, let's just let the stuff roll in.
Right,
and
let
then
the stuff
we'll
roll
deal
in.
with that. Okay.
I mean, I think everyone on the design team has a short or longer list of things. I mean, I have a file on my computer that's called SRM's wish list, and they are definite things that I think need to be changed in the game for whatever reason, both large and small, with a lot of my rationale. And we'll have talks about that. And that list, like, that's a snapshot of where my brain is right now. There could be things that happen in the next few weeks that make me reconsider some of those things on the list and strike them out. So, yeah, this is... I've been doing this a long time, and I've done a lot of playtests. And playtests can surprise you, mostly in the middle and in the end part, about just the kind of information that you pick up. So when I seem vague about it and start talking about a crystal ball, that's just true. This is the way that design works.
Right. That's fair.
Yeah.
All right. I've got kind of a longer question here. So,
all right.
Let's see. A fighter with a wooden shield.
Yeah.
With 3 hardness.
Yeah.
Has his shield raised a block.
Yes.
Character takes 100 damage hit.
Yeah.
How much damage? It went to the next level. Hang on. It went to a line jump. How much damage does the fighter take? How many dents does the shield take?
Well, let's see. So it's got a hardness of 3.
Yes.
And you took 100 points of damage.
Or this.
Yeah. The fighter's going to take 97 points of damage.
Because it's 1, 2, 3.
Yeah.
Done.
Okay. That's a benchmark.
Okay.
And I would imagine that.
So we're not even talking in terms of dents to the shield. It's the shield would be.
Oh yeah. Well, that's how much the fighter takes.
Right.
So now the shield is going to take at least 1 dent.
At least.
And if I were the GM, although this is not really it would just shatter, right? There's just like, yeah, okay, you're going to take 3 less hit points, and if you've got that low level of a shield, you probably don't have 97 hit points to spare.
Yeah.
So I think the point is moot. But you would take at least 1 dent.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. Okay. All right.
On the shield.
And that'd be dependent on the GM?
That would be me on the GM. So if it was a critical hit, it would be 2 dents. I think there's also a thing that if you hit double that damage threshold, you're going to take more than 1 dent as well.
Okay.
So.
All right.
So the shield would be destroyed. You would be dead, and don't take that much damage at low levels with a wooden shield. Yeah. And also,
there you go. That's the advice. Yeah. That's Steven's advice corner.
Don't take damage. Just don't do it.
That's awesome. I like that. Let's see. There's a question about when the final game comes out. Obviously, we don't know what the final game, what it's going to be like when it comes out.
Right. Yeah.
It's still in flight. That's why we're play testing it. So who knows? We can't say. Let's see. With resting HP currently, if you have 12 con, you heal the same as 10 con. Is this intended, or will there be a bonus to rest heals for those that decided to buff con a bit?
So I believe that you are going to. I see what you're saying. It's because it's you're going to take your level, and your level times your con mod, and your con mod is 1. So yeah, have a higher con. Higher con.
Yeah. So I guess the answer.
So that is the threshold. Is you need at least a +2 to start getting.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's fair. So it wasn't intended. That's just how the math is working.
Yeah, that's how the math is working.
All right. Let's see. There is a question that, for the life of me, there's a a series of letters that I cannot make out from this far away.
And I don't have my glasses.
Yeah, I know.
So
any consideration to removing magic in favor? Any consideration to removing a certain type of magic, and I cannot make out that word. Starts
with a P, an O.
Magic in favor of something more like the Arcanist.
Oh, I think I
can't even read the beginning.
Vancian? Is it start with a V?
Let's go. Yeah, it is. Yes, let's. Yeah, there it is. So Jim just put it in all caps for me too.
Vancian.
So I thought I made the font big enough, but apparently there are some words that I cannot even make heads or tails out of. So yeah, Vancian.
All right, so I'm going to start. I'm a huge fan of Jack Vance.
Okay.
Love Jack Vance's work.
Okay.
But maybe. That's all I could say with that. Like, I have thoughts on it. That's one of. See, if you like one of these days, I think, and it would be terrible, is we should just get all of the designers together and just have a chat about, because you'll find out that the entire design team, we all kind of look at the game a little bit differently, and there are things that I think are totally awesome about the game that Logan just thinks suck, and that Jason, has a new way of doing it and everything else, and in that swirl of the way all four of us look at it, and of course the rest of our co-workers at Paizo, is it congeals into into something much better. Like it's a good working part. That being said, I tend to like a non-Vancian design when it comes to Magic, even though I'm a big Jack Vance fan. Well, I'm more talking about his stories and mostly his Dying Earth and everything else, which are just crazy stories that I want Terry Gilliam to
get it, Stephen. You know his work.
Jack Vance. Read it, love it.
Totally
but
awkwardly standoffish.
I know. Jeez, Dan. I thought, oops.
There we go.
I'm messing up your studio.
No, it's fine. I just thought it'd be uncomfortable.
But maybe. It's something we'll continue to talk about as we take a little bit as the levels go up and we see how Magic is playing out. There are some non-Vancian bits in there as well, with powers and spell points and stuff like that. So we're in some ways fooling around a little bit with both systems.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So it's hard to say.
It's hard to say.
Again, it's a playtest. Things are still
like, I don't have a crystal ball. I could tell you what I want, and
well, you know what?
At least what I want right now.
That leads us into the next question. Let's hear something off of your wish list.
Now I'm gonna have to figure out what is a good thing on my wish list? What's a good thing that I won't feel like it's too sort of inside baseball on my wish list?
Yeah, something that people would think would be interesting. Like that. That's the other thing.
Yeah,
it's so subjective. What's interesting to other people. While you're thinking about that, Brendan, is there a drinking game? Wait, hang on.
Wait, there's a drinking game?
So Brendan said drink in the chat. Is there a? There's not a drinking game. There's no drinking game rules for Pathfinder Friday, I don't think. If there is, let me know what they are. I'm very interested, unless it's really embarrassing for me. Then I don't want to know. So whenever Dan says...
I'm doing my part.
Whenever Dan says, take a drink, that wouldn't be good. That would be terrible.
Anytime I throw out an F-bomb, you told me it was PG-13, I get one.
You get one.
Yeah.
You get one, so make it count.
Right.
So Stephen, technically, this is a family-friendly stream.
Yeah.
Technically, I like to say... PG-13,
yes,
which inherently means, according to the rules, the code, you get one F-bomb.
You get one.
So Steve and I were talking about, you get one, so make it count.
Right.
It's got to be important.
Yep.
So there's that. But anyway, the one item off your wish list. I don't think it's one
per episode. The one item off my wish list. Wow, I'm doing like, trying to. All right. Here's one.
Okay.
I want backpacks to work a little better.
Okay.
Yeah. Like
backpacks.
I want backpacks to work a little better because right now you get kind of this weird discount. It's on your back, but I want actually backpacks to have a discount because you've got things in it. Like find a way to do that. That's one of the I know it's like really small and tiny. I've got larger, more systemic ones, but I'm going to go with backpacks. I want backpacks to work better. Yeah,
I like that. That's good. Backpacks are good. And, and that's the thing. Backpacks are nice. That's one of the things that you generally have but never think about.
Right. It reminds me of my Boy Scout days.
Yeah.
When we went around the countryside in backpacks.
Foldery,
and a six-pack of beer.
I like it.
Yep.
Let's see. Is the format of presentation of the classes being reconsidered? Or is the current presentation of the most likely layout for the final product? Again, hard to talk about the final product.
Yeah, you'd also have to talk to Art, and because we don't pick the layout. I mean,
right.
So if you're asking if class feats will probably continue to be in classes, again, not a crystal ball. Probably, yeah. It's because we want class information to be with classes.
Yeah, yeah.
That's one of the goals.
Let's see. Are there any classes or ancestries that might be added to the playtest before? Oh, that's actually interesting.
Yeah.
Before the playtest is over, is there a thought of adding any classes or ancestries before that period, before that playtest period is over?
Probably not.
Probably not.
And it's so one of the things, one of our biggest constraints is we came out with this playtest book and everything else, and the final product's going to be, of course, a larger book, something more akin to the Pathfinder core rulebook you have now.
Right.
But that being said, given all the things we want to do with it, we want to have, all of the useful information that we need. We've already added a class to what you typically have in the first edition core rulebook. We've added an ancestry to that. We've added backgrounds. You had to wait till the Advanced Player's Guide for traits and everything else. We want more art in it and everything. Eventually, there's only so much stuff we can cram in that book. And putting another ancestry or another class in that, or even throwing it out as part of the playtest and then not having it in the book, which would be a little weird,
right.
Becomes a little bit problematic. That being said, we do know that eventually we're going to do more classes and especially more ancestries, right?
Yeah.
Because people like their catfolk and Tengu and,
yeah.
and all of that. And so some preliminary work has been going, in what will the shape of those ancestries kind of look like down the line, assuming nothing changes, which is assumption we know is just going to not going to happen in the end.
Yeah,
right? There's going to be changes to how we structure ancestries or what you get with ancestries and how we balance that and everything else.
Absolutely.
So while we definitely have thoughts about ancestries that are going to come later, I don't think you're going to see those pop up in the playtest. In a lot of ways, we specifically crafted the playtest to have this set of things because those are going to tell us the most of what we need without starting to go like crazy in all directions.
Right, right. And I guess the idea becomes a thing of let's play test the key concepts, the kind of the skeleton of the whole thing.
Exactly.
So that later down the road we have the game.
Yep.
Everything else is just parts that get added to it and kind of fit into that skeleton. So the play test doesn't have everything because it doesn't necessarily need
to have everything.
It just needs to know how does the game work.
Right.
Okay. Gotcha. That makes a lot of sense.
Yep.
I like that. Let's see. Will there be modifications to multi-class system or access to lower-level feats to allow any character concept to be available again? Let's see.
That's unfortunately you guys are going to if the drinking game is going, you can have a drink every time I say crystal ball. I'm like,
is that it? Is it the crystal ball?
Yeah, it's.
I don't know. You're getting people hammered out there if that's
nope.
the case. Okay.
Playtest.
It's a gift.
It's a playtest, right? I mean, whoops. One of the things.
Really loud.
I know. I just scratched myself, and it's all like, "Hey guys." I mean, take our multi-classing and archetype system right now. That is a fairly radical change from what we had in P1. We are watching very closely what people do with that, and things that we have to change. So, yeah, if it does everything that we want to do with it, it'll be fine. If it doesn't, we're gonna change it.
Right.
Keep in mind too that it took a 10-year process for you to have every kind of concept that you wanted to have in P1. And so if you're expecting that right out of the gate, there's no other way I can say it. That's an unreasonable request.
Right.
Unless we just, partitioned it out into some sort of, point-based whatever system like other role-playing games that are out on the market that quite frankly I just don't think you're going to see. A lot of the great swath of options in P1 occurred over time, and I think you're gonna see the same thing.
Right.
With P2.
Iterations and
iterations and expansions and everything else.
Okay.
I mean, when you got the core rulebook, you didn't have all of that. Heck, you didn't even have archetypes.
Yeah.
At that point, archetypes weren't even invented until the Advanced Player's Guide, and then even then, you had a handful of archetypes that built up over time. So. So yeah, I guess that's my answer to that.
All right. Yeah. Let's see. Where are we? Animal companions dead at 0 HP or PC dying rules.
Oh, that's a good question. I think
Of course,
I would probably.
The username is the last rogue. Obviously, a rogue comes through with the best questions.
Right.
Represent Team Rogue.
I don't think we say. And I think because I can be kind-hearted sometimes.
Okay.
I think I would probably run them. Can be. Run them with the PC death and dying rules.
Okay.
Just because you don't want to be the guy that kills your friend's pet.
No.
Like, nobody wants to be that guy unless you're a psychopath. Living
I think that
next door or something.
Glass Cannon. I think Troy takes a certain amount of glee in getting rid of some of those animal companions. He tries all the time. So let's see, where are we at now? What is let's see, I did not do the top 10 list and throw pencils at the camera. However, I do have a ceiling mounted camera that reminds me of the late night thrill cam from the old David Letterman show from NBC.
Well, you've got to update your Letterman for the time, though. You've got to grow that huge beard.
Oh, I can't. Man, I cannot grow.
Well,
a
you
giant
can buy
beard
one.
Like that. I can. I can buy a beard.
Or we could get Ed Greenwood here one day, and he could fill in for you, right? And then
totally.
Then he'd be, "Hi, I'm Dan. Like, look at my beard."
Let's see. Monster building rules during the playtest. Those are both questions. I'm assuming are we going to see some monster building rules during the playtest? No. Okay.
Yeah. Unless we get really desperate for content and everything else. In fact, you probably, I'll say this and get a little bit of trouble. You probably won't see them in the bestiary when it comes out either. I think we're going to put those and a whole bunch of design guides in another book down the line.
Okay.
I think. Right. Of course, this kind of crystal ball thing, but yeah.
I think that might be it, because somebody else is saying, did he say crystal? Actually, it says, did he say crystal ball again?
I did. Drink!
Let's see. Is there the possibility of power spells and similar abilities being cast using the same resource, rather than having to keep track of spell slots up to the 9 different levels? Spell points, a pool of uses of a certain ability, like channel energy, etc.
Again, crystal ball, drink. I would be very surprised if you don't get final classes without slots. I think slots in many ways might be too much of a sacred cow to just get rid of, especially spell points. Spell points have all sorts of their own kind of issues with novaing, unless you put like weird bits and pieces and sort of breakers on spell points. Like it's got its own issues with the system. I don't think you're going to see a radical change. We do have a spell point system for powers, and I have a lot of thoughts on where I think that system is going to look in the end. But I have also not totally discuss that with my team and my boss. So I'm
maybe
sure
they don't know
I'm not going to tell you guys, right?
Yeah.
So, and I'm sure they have, well, Logan and I have talked about it a bit, but Yeah, I don't think we're getting rid of spell slots. So
Okay.
so if that's your hill, I don't know what to tell you.
I'm going to say this. My crystal ball says that it is 5 p.m.
Ooh.
We have been talking for an hour, and we want to thank you for hanging with us for that whole hour.
Thank you.
As always, having Steven on the show is always a blast. This is the second time you've been on? Third time?
I think so. Second, I don't think the first time I was on it was officially Paizo Friday.
I think
it
we
was
were still kind of
early
testing it,
iteration.
and,
Yeah.
And now it's Pathfinder Friday. Everything
Now
is
it's
different.
Pathfinder
Everything is
Friday.
just changing
I know,
all the time.
yeah.
So we're going to probably start packing it up. I just want to say, first off, tonight, at 6 p.m. Pacific, you can tune in and watch Dragons and Things. They'll be live playing on Twitch, and we'll be hosting them, I believe. So feel free to check that out. I think the other thing is usually Glass Cannon does some streaming. They're not doing Doomsday Dawn this week. They're going every other week. So make sure you put it in your calendar. If you missed it last time, check it out, because it is quite a treat to watch them play Doomsday Dawn. I think there were people that watched our stream the day before and then watched the Glass Cannon one, and it's like two different experiences. It's a blast. But if you're worried about spoilers, because there are spoilers in that, it is filled with spoilers. Dragons and Things is also a very, very good show to watch. They have a really good cast, and they're really passionate about the game as well. So keep that in mind. Thank you so much for joining us, everybody. I hope that you've got a great weekend ahead of you. Have fun at PAX or Dragon Con, or just playing that game around your own table. And until then, on behalf of Stephen Radney-MacFarland, on behalf of Paizo, and on behalf of me, your old buddy Dan, have a great weekend, everybody.
Have a great weekend.
Bye!